Eurosport's coverage of the 1999 FIA World Rally Championship. Round 4 is the Rally of Portugal. We continue. Night by night updates here on Eurosport. The first Super Special was Sunday. Tonight we have details of Monday's stages, and we'll take you through Tuesday and Wednesday here each evening around midnight in CET terms. That's 11 o'clock here on British Eurosport. My name's Martin Haven. This is a view of the beautiful spring weather that has sat over Portugal. This is the country's biggest sporting event, and as ever, vast numbers of spectators jamming the stages, whether they're around the small villages or on the rough, tough roads out in the country that make this event such a car breaker. Well, after 3 specialist events, now we get back to a more generic kind of dirt rallying. Well, here's the man of the moment, Colin McRae in the Ford Focus. He led the Monte Carlo Rally before being excluded for a water pump problem. But on the last event, the real tough car breaker, the Safari in Kenya, he claimed his first victory for Ford, and indeed the Focus's first victory for Ford. A fantastic performance in only the car and the driver's third event together.
The pressure's still on. This is a completely different type of event, and it's going to be a lot harder to win here than it was in Safari.
Well, despite McRae's most recent victory, the championship points leader is Tommy Mäkinen. He won the first 2 rounds of the championship in Monte Carlo and Sweden, but he was disqualified from second place in Kenya after spectators helped him to get his damaged car back on the road. He's been testing hard. What does he think?
It's always difficult when you are in this kind of dry condition. Your first car on the road, it's always a little bit more sleepy. We'll see. I try to do what I can.
Well, Tommy Mäkinen has a new teammate for this event. It's Marcus Grönholm, the Finn. He's replacing Belgian Freddy Loire. He was injured during an accident in the Safari. Grönholm will be a Peugeot driver later this season.
Big surprise for me to come here, but it was after Freddy's accident. So it's bad luck for Freddy, but I do only this rally. So, but it's very nice to have experience from a new car, one of the best cars. So it's good for my future.
What tests have you done in the car so far?
15 kilometers. So it's not so much. So I have to start very easy in the rally to learn the car. So that's the most important.
Very important information he'll be taking back to Peugeot as well for their World Rally Car debut in the Tour de Course in May. Carlos Sainz and Didier Auriol in the Toyotas, numbers 3 and 4. Toyota looking for a first success here in Portugal. Sainz lost last year by 2.1 seconds to Colin McRae. He's third in the series at the moment.
On a un nouveau moteur.
As Didier Auriol explains, some modifications to the Toyotas. New engine, he said, not a big difference, a little more torque. And we're using a different balance setup on the centre diff. Before we were 47 front, 53 rear. Now he said it's an exact 50-50 split. Richard Burns leading the Subaru Team Challenge, perhaps against expectations as he joins the team, or rejoins the team. But they've had a tough opening 3 events, problems with grip and reliability. Well, all 3 drivers, Kankinen, Thierry and Burns, retired.
I'm very happy with the way the car's going. I'm a little disappointed that we're not able to run with the new gearbox here, but we should all have that for Spain.
Well, after their debacle trying to debut on the Monte Carlo Rally where neither car started the first stage, Skoda return. Armin Schwartz and Emil Treiner are back, and they have worked hard to make the car more reliable.
We know it before. It was for everybody very late, also for the team, for suppliers, for everybody, and we still, most of the people forgot that we have to do the homologation before Monte Carlo, and that was very tight, everything together, and so unfortunately we had the problem in Monte Carlo, but I think that was a good boost up for everybody to get everything together.
So here's the way the Drivers' Championship stands. With 2 full scoring rallies, Tommy Mäkinen leads on 20 points. Didier Auriol's consistent point scoring gives him 13 and second place ahead of Colin McRae, with just the points for that win in Kenya last time out. Carlos Sainz tied on 10 in 3rd place. Juha Kankkunen is in 5th place, the best of the Subaru drivers. Subaru languishing on just 10 points in total, only just clear of Seat. But Toyota's 2 drivers have put the Japanese manufacturer on top of the pile. Well, enough of the previews, let's get down to some action. This was Sunday, the Super Special, televised across Portugal, and you can see from the crowd shots here, there can't have been too many people left at home watching it on the TV, because the warm weather drew absolutely staggering crowds for this side-by-side Super Special. 3.2 kilometres the first stage was, just 20 kilometres outside Porto, in the heart of the Portuguese wine-growing region. And 25 degrees centigrade the temperature, massive attendance here. Tommy Mäkinen versus Didier Auriol, the first of the heads-to-heads. And it's the Toyota of Didier Auriol, despite making what he considered to be a small mistake running wide on one of the turns, that sets the fastest time. Next up, Colin McRae versus Carlos Sainz. So they're running in championship order. Championship leader versus the man who's second, Carlos Sainz, and Colin McRae, third equal in the championship, head-to-head against each other. Well, for Ford, McRae set down the early markers, winning the stage against Sainz, and in fact setting a faster time than anyone else. Marcus Grönholm was second, Carlos Sainz third, Didier Auriol fourth, Tommy Mäkinen fifth, and Juha Kankkunen was sixth. But dramas for Toyota in the Formula number 23 car. This is Saudi driver Abdullah Bakarshab and his British co-driver Michael Park. A slow roll of the Toyota, which unfortunately the engine kept running on a little longer than they would have liked when it was upside down, and pretty much destroyed itself. As you can see, the 2 crew members have not got enough muscle power to right the car. All those photographers there could have helped, but that would have excluded them anyway, so their rally over effectively before it starts. And I'm afraid no amount of rocking and muscle power by 2 men is ever going to turn a car back onto its wheels without the help of a big slope. Well, the event's over for them. You can see the oil in the exhaust burning away as the engine continues to run. It had pumped oil down the exhaust, and the hot metal eventually setting fire to it. A very second-hand car. It's a shame, because that's the car that Sainz used to win in New Zealand in '98. So the Super Special out of the way then, let's go to the first full day of rallying, as you can see, based around Porto. Day 2 they'll head back down south, and the first 2 days containing very much the bulk of the stage mileage. Well, here we are, Tuesday morning, I beg your pardon, Monday morning. Everybody ready to go, final adjustments and concentrations being made. Tommy Mäkinen first on the road. Colin McRae, the overnight leader for Ford, from the Mitsubishi's second driver, Marcus Grönholm. If that's what he means by playing himself in slowly, heaven help the rest of them when he finally gets up to speed. Sainz and Auriol were 3rd and 4th on the timesheets. Mäkinen was 5th, ahead of Kankkunen, the best of the Subarus. Armin Schwartz, incidentally, 7th quickest through the Super Special in the Skoda, so it certainly doesn't lack too much in terms of speed, at least in the early days. We'll be back in just a moment with more action. Don't go away. Round 4 of the 1999 FIA World Rally Championship. The second day, the first full competitive leg of the Rally of Portugal. This is the man who leads the World Rally Championship, Tommy Mäkinen. 2 great events to open the season. Wins in Monte Carlo and Sweden, followed by a disqualification from 2nd place on the Safari. But unfortunately, the beginning of the Portuguese rally was not going well for the Finn. Taking to the road first, he had the worst of the dusty conditions, or the slippery conditions, should we say, on the road surface, clearing away the loose debris for the others to get slightly better traction. But he had more pressing problems on his mind, the differentials not working to his satisfaction. Mechanics doing their best to adjust, but they couldn't change it.
We have also little problem with the transmission. It doesn't work very well. They just try to find out the problem now if they can. I hope they can find the problem.
Is it a problem engaging gears, or what do you think it is?
No, it's just diffs. Diffs doesn't work. Doesn't give locking enough. There's some, must be some. Hopefully, it's just some electric problem.
Well, the high-tech differentials that these cars use run by electronic brains, just like the engine and gearbox box management systems. Tommy Mäkinen complaining that it wasn't ramping up enough, not locking up enough, and that means he's spinning away power on the inside unweighted wheels. Well, Colin McRae won the Super Special on Sunday, delighting Ford on the back of that victory last time out in the Safari, and blitzed through stages 2 and 3 as well, fastest on both the sections around Ponte de Lima.
We are a bit surprised. We knew the car would be competitive, but we weren't sure whether it would be good enough to go for a victory. So obviously after the first 2 stages, there's every possibility we can.
A lot of the others are saying that they went too soft on tyres. Do you feel as if you made the right choice?
Well, I think most of the other Michelin runners were on the same tyre as us, so that puts that theory out the window.
Either that, of course, or Colin and the Ford are much easier on their tyres. Well, not worried about the Michelin problems on Pirellis are the Subaru team. Richard Burns making a good start here. He's had a bit of a tentative start to the season, and now trying to rectify that. Blasting through stage 2 in 2nd position behind McRae. Well, Didier Auriol in the Toyota, 3rd after the first 2 special stages, lying behind the Scot and the Brit. McRae still holding his lead, Richard Burns in 2nd place overall. So Ford, Subaru, and then the Frenchman's Toyota, the top 3 different manufacturers. And after the Toyota, in 4th place, a 4th different manufacturer. Here it is, the Mitsubishi, and again it's the number 2 machine. Marcus Grönholm playing himself in slowly. Well, no, not particularly. 4th fastest on both stages and holding down 4th position. 39.3 seconds behind the leader, 0.1 seconds behind Auriol. But what about the local heroes? The Iberian Peninsula has been, well, kind in times to Carlos Sainz. Toyota never a winner here. Carlos Sainz, though, you can see lots of Spanish flags in the crowd egging him on. Sainz holding 5th place after the first 3 stages, just a 2nd behind Grönholm.
It seems like it's going well, and of course the new Focus is going very well in his first gravel rally.
You going to make any changes to the car here?
No, I mean, when you look our performance, it's only him, because the rest we are more or less very equal like the rest of the season, no? So at the moment it seems like they have made big step forwards.
But you have to agree with him. McRae 13.2 seconds quicker than anyone else on the 3rd stage of the day. But trouble for Armin Schwartz in the Skoda on stage 2. He stalled it a couple of times. Clearly something slightly awry in the engine's brain. Check machine once more on its way. And the German driver pushing as hard as he can, determined to make as much of an impression as possible, despite these electrical problems. 35-year-old and 38-year-old Czech Emil Triner in the car's first stage appearances. Well, moving on to section 3, this is stages 4, 5 and 6, some of the most famous stages in rallying, including this spectacular jump at Fife. Well, Sainz was fastest on stage 4, McRae fastest on 5 and 6 from Burns and Sainz respectively on those two. So Colin McRae doing everything in his power to hold on to his lead. And just look at the angles of attack that the Scotsman gets with the Ford Focus, getting superb grip and really using all the evident power of the Ford's engine.
Into right and 1 left. And hairpin right. Into hairpin left. Into 1 right, don't cut. And 2 left, don't cut. Into 2 right plus opens. And 2 left plus don't cut. 30.
Extending your lead, smiling inside.
Yeah, no, very happy. It's going a lot better than we expected.
Well, fastest or equal fastest on 5 of the 6 stages. Can't really argue too much with that. Chasing hard though, Carlos Sainz with that 1 stage win, and he's been there or thereabouts all the way through. He won stage 4, just losing 0.6 seconds on the leader on the final. He's moved up from 5th place after stage 3 to 2nd place after stage 6. And the question is now, can Sainz do anything about McRae in the Ford? These two arch rivals, in or out of the same team. Richard Burns, quickest in 2 and equal quickest in 3 as well. He lost 2nd place overall though in stage 4. And equalled Colin McRae's time in stage 5. Certainly going far better than the other pair of Subarus. Juha Kankkunen 6th, Bruno Thierry testing the new gearbox in 10th place. Burns 3rd after stage 6, ahead of Didier Auriol and Marcus Grönholm. Grönholm here in the Mitsubishi, still outpacing his team leader. Don't forget, he'd only done 15 kilometres of testing before the start of the event on Sunday, and this is a pretty impressive performance. Peugeot must be very glad to have this Finn aboard.
It's quite okay. Now I hit a little bit some stone, you know, out of the corner when it came, so I lost a piece of the rim, and it was a vibration, so I thought we had a puncture, but we did the last 7 Ks, okay, a little bit slower, so we lost a little bit time.
Not too much, he was still 6th quickest through. Well, what about Seat and their WRC machine, getting better and better all the time? The Cordobas are certainly as reliable just about as the team would hope, but not quite on front-running pace. That was Harry Rovanperä. Here's another Finn. This is the world champion, Tommi Mäkinen, and his nightmares continue. 7th after the 3rd stage. He lost 2 more places in the run-around Faith to drop down to 9th, 1 minute and 46 seconds behind Colin McRae. The engineers know where the problem is in the differential. The only problem is in the limited 20-minute service. They just don't have time to change it.
We have to try to go next 3 stages and just change it in the evening.
Well, that's the story. In Formula 2, Alistair McRae leading the tree. McRae's in charge of both categories then. Overall, it's Colin. Formula 2, it's Alistair. Just need a 3rd McRae to win Group N, really, don't we? The Hyundai Formula 2 car sounding superb, and young Alistair throwing it around with gay abandon. Kenneth Eriksson 2nd in class, very disappointed to withdraw from his home event, the Swedish, when he was leading the category. And he takes over the lead. Colin McRae then leading overall by 41.1 seconds from Carlos Sainz. Richard Burns in 3rd for Subaru. 2 Toyotas in the top 4, courtesy of Didier Auriol. Then Marcus Grönholm in the best of the Mitsubishis, and Juha Kankkunen, 2 Subarus in the top 6. Join us for the second half of day 1 after this. Portugal rally not kind to everybody. This is Finland's Pasi Hagström, the Toyota Corolla number 18, having rolled down a ravine. Driver and co-driver walked away from this one, but 34 retirements during the day, including 4 in fact on the first stage, taking out the all-star Subarus. Christoph Holovitz went off, was hit by his teammate Toshio Arai. Michael Guest in the Winfield Subaru then ran into both of them, and they were hit by a Formula 2 car before any of them could get out of the ditch. A tough old day. Tough day too for Skoda. They managed to get almost all the way back to service, but both cars retired at the end of stage 8 with clutch failure. So the Octavia with new car teething problems, sidelining Emil Treiner we saw there, and Armin Schwartz. Tommy Mäkinen, 9th in the overall classification, lost 6 seconds in the final 3 stages, so trying to keep the damage at bay. Now that the team know exactly what the problem is, they can change it after the final special before they go into the overnight service park. So Tommy Mäkinen should be restored to fully functioning order for day 2 of the event, Tuesday. Sixth overall, Juha Kankinen, never in with a clear shout at an overall fastest time on the stages throughout the day. Not really the best of days for Subaru, not the best of days for Kankinen, and not a good day either for Bruno Thierry at the bottom of the top 10, testing the fly-by-wire transmission once more. Ahead of Kankinen then, it's Finland a go-go, because Marcus Grönholm ties down 5th. His avowed intention in day 1 was to learn how the car went. I think he fairly much got to grips with that. Be interesting to see what he can do on day 2. He's had some pretty impressive performances on his odd forays into the World Rally Championship for Toyota in '98. See what he can do for a different Japanese manufacturer in '99. Well, Didier Auriol just 1 spot ahead of him in 4th place, and looking for another podium finish to keep his strong championship challenge alive. It's been a long time since Didier Auriol was a champion of the world, and I'm sure he would like to do it again. He took the fastest time on stage 7. That was the stage after Carlos Sainz had his big problem of the day. He broke the left rear suspension on stage 6, having hit something. He was in 2nd place until stage 8 in a big battle with Richard Burns. Burns gained the upper hand by 0.9 seconds by setting fastest time through stage 8. And that means that it's a British 1-2 at the end of the day. Burns in 2nd place on the leaderboard, courtesy of that penultimate stage win. And Colin McRae going through in the lead in the Ford Focus, right off the back of that victory, setting the fastest time on the final stage of the day, stage 9, to reinforce his lead here.
Yeah, it's great, delighted. It's been a good day and the car's worked really well.
3rd on the road today, you're going to be 1st on the road tomorrow. Not going to be a problem?
Yeah, it's going to be a small problem, but it shouldn't be bad. We've got quite a good gap, so I don't think it'll be a major problem, but you never know.
Quite a good gap indeed, 49.2 seconds. Carlos Sainz just a smidgen behind Richard Burns in 3rd place, and Didier Auriol holding on to his team leader's shirt tails in 4th. Marcus Grönholm in 5th. Juha Kankinen in 6th. Alistair McRae finishes on top of the Formula 2 leaderboard. Hyundai's 1st and 2nd. Kenneth Eriksson 18.6 behind. Jose Carlos Macedo is 3rd for Renault. And in Group N, Miguel Campos leads for Mitsubishi and Portugal from Joao Puca's Mitsubishi, and Gustavo Trelez, the Uruguayan, also in a Mitsubishi. Well, join us for the story of day 2, Tuesday, 11 p.m. on British Eurosport across Europe at midnight CET. Any comments, favourable or otherwise, any more news or information you want, you can email me, martinhaven, all one word, at yahoo.com. Or log on to our site, www.eurosport.com, for stage-by-stage updates during the course of the day. And of course, please do join me tomorrow. From me, Martin Haven, and from Toby Moody in the trenches, it's goodbye.